Hello, happy holidays, 2021. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We should say Happy Hanukkah. Happy, I'm not as Muslim familiar, but we're going to talk about Ramadan and what they call Eid al-Fitr. Embarrassingly, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but this is the holidays and mental health, and we're excited to bring the end of the year 2021 to you guys. We've enjoyed the ride. Really, really looking forward to 2022. We got some cool things with Through a Therapist's Eyes that we're thinking about partnering with and doing. So it's going to be a fun year to come. So we got this festive environment. We got this is the lobby at Metrolina Psychotherapy Associates, where I do my work as a therapist through the day. And so we've got the Christmas tree, and I'm going to give props to Casey Morgan. Y'all know her as the co-host, and she set this up, man. I came in on a Monday, and dude, she had a whole Christmas tree, wrapped the pictures in the presents on the wall. I mean, she kicked it. She killed it.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's more than cool. So thank you, Casey, for doing this. And we're going to talk about mental health tonight and different things about the holidays. And we've got the whole group here. So Neil's going to be on the mics, and Adam's last week co-hosting with us before we transition to actually Casey next week. We did a switch, so it's going to be Casey instead of Matthew for the start of the year.
So you can ooh and ah next week to talk. Well, no, the week after next.
The week
right?
after next, because
no episode
I
next
haven't
week.
even talked to you, producer. We are going to be taking a week off, brother. I'm going to be on the beach.
Okay, so okay. Good to know.
That's good to know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you didn't know me and Neil doing the show next week.
Oh, hey.
No,
you know what?
I'm joking. I'm
all over it, man. That's cool. Absolutely.
I'm joking.
So this is Through a Therapist's Eyes, where we invite you to get personal insights in your own car and time at your house. Re-Understanding Emotions and Becoming Your Best Self is the book. We endeavor to see the world through the lens of a therapist, but being aware is not the delivery of therapy services in any way. I really thank you for being a part of us this year. I feel like we've grown. We've done some new things. We're truly an international podcast now. I don't know if you noticed, Neil, but dude, we got Japan's hit it up now. Did you see that?
I haven't looked at the stats lately, but that's awesome.
Yeah, popping into Japan and China and around the world, and I thank you around the world. You guys make what we do worth it and make the show what it is. So follow us on Apple, Spotify, get those ratings going, do some reviews for us. It definitely helps us grow, and we got a lot more growing to do in 2022. So guys, this is the human emotional experience, and I propose that we endeavor to figure this thing out together. Shall we all together? Not one, not two, but three.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You guys are like, okay. So listen, I want to just kind of have a conversation today a little bit about the holidays and what they mean to you, what they think of you, what you think about it. So this is kind of a fun conversation about, all the ins and outs that mental health gets created when we're in such a stressful time of the year. Because, I've learned by doing what I do is as holly and jolly as it can be, man. It can be a huge stressor and a huge downer for a lot of people. So we're going to get into that. But first, I got a couple of current events and some housekeeping to cover. So first thing is a huge current event. I really just want to know what you guys think about this, right? So have you seen in the news that there are, and how do they call it, supervised drug injection sites? So we were talking about substance abuse in families and stuff. Do you know that they have been talking about this for a while, and very recently it has been kicked off into the New York, I think, has one, and maybe another one in the country, maybe in California. Or it's starting. It's very, very new. But
like with the doctor and everything.
Have you heard of this at all? You've not heard of this at all.
Familiar with it?
No, I've never heard of that one.
Really? Okay. Well, maybe I'm a geeky, weird mental health substance abuse professional, and I pay attention to this stuff, and other people haven't. By the way, kick over to Facebook. You'll see the video and what I was talking about if you are listening to this on the audio version. We're growing the Facebook and the YouTube video sites up, so we are all video. So yeah, what this is they have designed a safe injection site, and particularly in New York. I saw a show on it, or not a show, but a news hit on it. And the idea is that so you haven't heard of this at all? Street heroin addicts?
No, I was going to ask, so that's like illegal drugs, but they're going to have a supervised illegal drug use?
It is nothing more than street drugs. Instead of being injected on the street, they're inviting people to come into these units. Of course, it's against federal law to use these drugs, but they are saying you can come here, you can be safer. We're going to allow you to use these. We want to supervise this with you. Yeah, there's people on site and on scene.
Well, what would kind of prevent the police from arresting everyone in the building?
Well, they have an agreement with the city to be able to say, yeah, we're not going to fight this. We're not going to do anything with it.
Well, my question is the law illegal to use it, or is it illegal to distribute it?
Yes, all of it.
I just want to make sure what
we're
the
talking
difference
about
is.
shooting fentanyl, shooting heroin, safe injection sites. Instead of doing this on the street, you come to us.
I feel like if they're going to do that, they need therapy services to go with it while they're shooting up. Try to tackle the mental side of why they're shooting up to go with the physical side of the addiction. I know my wife did some research, I think in Argentina or something, where they actually do a lot of therapy to help people fill the void of the physical substance stuff. So I feel like if they're going to do these things where, hey, you can come shoot up here. Well, while you're here, let's start addressing some of these problems to try to see if we can get you off of this.
That's part of the thinking. There is a social work basic adage that, particularly in my field of discipline, social work, that we want to meet the client where they are. And that just means hey, if you're in my office, I'm not non-judgmental. I'm going to just go with where you're at.
Right.
Come to the level that you're at wherever you're. If you're depressed, if you're whatever, I'm not going to judge you, and we're just going to meet you at your level. Well, this is going to their level in the sense of their real world and saying, we're here on the street, come do this safely with us. So there will be therapists, there will be doctors.
So is that like a city in America, or is this overseas?
New York.
New York.
New York. So
I figured it'd be.
Does this sound kind of crazy?
It does. I thought it'd be like a West Coast thing, but
New York's pretty much as bad as the West Coast.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So
no, I didn't say bad.
We just lost everybody in New
I
York.
didn't say bad.
Everybody in California.
New York's as progressive as California now.
Okay. Well, I was thinking like Portland or something, but
yeah, them too.
It's a lot more liberal, and this is a strategy that they're trying to look at doing. Does it sound crazy? Because some people were like, dude, this is insanity.
I think adding the safe zone is actually better overall, because especially if they can monitor what they're putting in their system, or some way to do that too. Because you look at all the accidental overdose, especially with fentanyl involved. If there's ways to try to help that too and avoid those unnecessary deaths, or make it to where they're not sneaking, using dirty needles in the back of an alley, the infections that come with it, not going to the doctor because now they have infections.
So
I mean, that really, I think it could be a positive. You just have to be careful of the abuse of it, and how do you track how often they come in and that kind of stuff.
Do they have to bring their own stuff?
Yes. It's their own stuff. It's their own illegal streets. Just like they would buy it on the street and use it on the street. Instead, they're using it here. And here's the thing, the news story kind of shot numbers up. Pun not intended. Sorry for that. Shot numbers. Sorry. Anyway. Listen, there's been 17 overdoses that they were there in the safe site and they saved their life. So you can argue that's got really arguably life-saving strategies involved here. But here's the other side of it. Listen, my substance abuse knowledge is kind of I went onto this and I'm like, this, I don't know. I don't know that I can be on board. We're just going to go ahead and enable these people to do their illegal activity and total drug activity, and it's not going to change their life and whatever. So I'm really mixed about it. It's like this. What impact is this going to make? I was talking to an addict in my office this week in prep for this, in thinking, and it was funny because he gave me the reaction of, what the hell? People are going to be sitting here shooting up the wing, listening to this, and saying, great, I could use the really good stuff, and you're going to bring me back. You're going to save my life, so it doesn't matter what I use. This is a bonus.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that.
Addicts do not tend in active addiction to think like we typically think, and I think that's what some of the proponents of these things are missing. However, I can't get away from, and I believe these principles, like meet the client where they're at. You have an opportunity to interact with people in a real way, in a real live, real life, real time. You just overdosed, you checked out, you just punched your last ticket, but we brought you back influence into recovery.
Who's up for round 2?
Yeah, well, that's what an addict might come up with. So my thing is, I have a lean towards, hey, this is kind of a cool thing. The guy I was talking to had a lean towards, this is crazy, you shouldn't be doing it. Just because it's curious to see what your all's raw thoughts are.
I got to think about it. I'm not sure. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
so,
we got to move on a little bit because we got a lot I want to get to and stuff. But it's a fascinating question that you're going to see a lot more going on in the world, because this is going to continue happening. People are going to continue doing it, and it won't be just 2 sites across the country. It'll be several. We got a listener question I want to spend just a little bit of quick time on to wrap up the year. Sherry emailed in. She says, my son has been diagnosed with ADD this year. We've been working to figure out how to best help him, but I've been wondering how, if in any ways, I may have caused this problem for him. Caused, right? Do parents cause ADD in any way through parenting? This is what Sherry's asking. What says y'all? Test. How much have you learned about genetic realities and stuff? Can a parent cause this?
I've heard all kinds of things about cause. I don't really know I don't really know exactly what does cause it. So
really?
Yeah, sure. So
okay,
tell us,
Neil. What do you say?
Well, yes and no. Genetics, there's the predisposition to have those types of things. Plus, depends on the environment that they're in. Are they processed food, sugars? Is it causing some issues with different things that could alleviate the extreme ADD? How have they dealt with coping up to this point? ADD is something you have to me, address. So there's a good chance that if they don't address it soon enough, it might have gotten to an extreme. But no, I don't think parents cause ADD. Just like autism, parents don't cause autism. It's just
no.
You just have to know how to handle and address it. If they start seeing things, you have to help them deal with ADD and how to best suit it for their life. But parents don't cause it. Like I said, genetics is the closest thing you get with it, and that's a roll of the dice.
It makes me sad a little bit, Sherry, to be honest with you, to get this question and think about this thought. Like we talked about parent guilt on the show as a topic this year, and shame recently as a show. Like people feel like I have done something wrong, and parents feel like I have failed my kid. I am so in panic about being the best parent I can be. And my thing is like, look, you cannot cause genetic, biologically based brain conditions. I don't know why we think, well, how did I cause my kid's ADD versus how did I cause my kid's high cholesterol problem? Like, would we ever feel the question, can parents cause high cholesterol? Well, we all know.
A little bit.
No, they can't cause that. What Neil's talking about is absolutely so. You need to learn. So, Sherry, you're doing what you need to do to get this kid help. You need to learn nutrition. You need to learn parenting with ADD. There's some specific things, like you don't put a kid with ADD in timeout. That's ill-advised. It's absolutely not helpful. So the kid can feel stupid and lazy and punished. Like I feel terrible if I get angry with my child who has anxiety. Like I don't want to yell at them when they're going through an anxiety reaction.
So if they did put them in timeout, would that make it worse or cause another condition? Or
it's ill-advised because the kid can't sit. Kid can't sit. A hyper ADD kid can't do that well. So it's ill-advised. And that causes turmoil, but you're not going to cause ADD.
Yeah, it's an extreme punishment. It's just like, you have more than one kid, right?
Mm-hmm. 2.
Right. So that what worked for one kid usually doesn't work for the other kid.
No, it does
right?
not work.
So that's the same thing with an ADD
Absolutely
kid. A timeout wouldn't work for them because it doesn't help them because for them it's an extreme punishment. For my kids, we had the same thing. One punishment worked with the other, but not them. So you have to, like you said, the parent has to figure out what works best for their kid with ADD, and there are several guidelines that you have to follow. So,
and we've covered some shows on that, Sherry, actually, that I think that you'll enjoy. ADD and Love and Logic and how to apply to that specifically. Another quick housekeeping thing. We'll get to Christmas. We had a YouTube Carmen, we were mentioning about this, so I thought, Neil, what I'd do with it is just bring it on to this little quick current event wrapping up the year and let you know that the good folks at Elder Law Care Practice in Arkansas. How do you say Arkansas? It's spelled Arkansas. Why can we not say Arkansas? Right? This is what my brain does sometimes, man.
Yeah, I thought stuff like that too.
Have you?
Yeah.
Can we not pronounce the S at the end of this state? Why do we not? You got nothing?
It's English language. There's no rhyme or reason to the English language.
Arkansas. Anyway.
Well, I told you like about theater. To me, it's R-E, not E-R. It just is. It just is.
It just is.
It just is.
So they want to make themselves available for any legal questions that you have about accomplishing elder care, their paid nursing home care and elder care, and any legal questions. So if you have questions about that, we did an elder care show based on the caretaking role. And email us, contact it through therapisteyes.com. We'll get you hooked up with those guys. And thank you, y'all, for being willing to help our folks out with that and be available. I think that's super cool. It's the Through Therapist Eyes tribe coming together, right?
Yep.
You know? So Christmas. Let's get to the holidays. So I just want to pose some questions for us to talk about and think about, guys. And first of all, we talk about the holidays, and I want to kind of highlight, Christmas, Hanukkah. I think most of us kind of know what Hanukkah is the Jewish celebration for the holiday season. And then Ramadan, is the Muslim.
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa, what is Kwanzaa? I'm not even sure. Do you know?
I wish I could talk intelligently about it, but I don't know hardly anything about it.
Yeah, and I learned that Ramadan is followed by, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. I apologize, and I'll own my ignorance to a certain extent. But it's Eid, Id al-Fitr, F-I-T-Z, right? And that evidently is the Muslim celebration representing the time of giving. As we approach the end of the month of Ramadan, Muslims look forward to a 3-day celebration called Eid al-Fitr, where asked about this event, American Muslims will often kind of describe it as, it's like our Christmas. This is what it means to us. It's our Christmas. So whether we're talking about Christmas, Ramadan, Hanukkah, whatnot, what does the holidays mean to you? This is an important, sets up all mental health questions, right? We've done this a few times on the show. So Neil, what do you think, man? What does holidays mean to you? Adam, what do you take when you start really thinking about the holidays?
Well, for me, it's time off work.
Right?
I mean, it is. Mean, not everybody's off during the holidays, but I am, so it's great. It's like mini vacation or a holiday. Like retirement or something like that.
Does it mean rest?
I don't know so much about rest, but a break from the work thing, and maybe take care of some other stuff that you've been putting off. If it was only like the middle of summer, it'd be great. But it's middle of winter, so it's cold and everything. So you can't do all the things you need to do around the house, but it gives you a good break.
I'm gonna go with, for me, when I think about this, what it really means to me when I'm thinking of holidays, really, whether it's Easter or Christmas or whatnot. I really do kind of get a reflection with my religious belief structures, my religion and God and Jesus and his birth. To me, I really get kind of reflective on I don't know, as they say, the reason for the season and those types of thoughts. That to me is particularly Easter, man. I get real reflective on Easter time. But other than that, family is what comes to my mind. Family and religion and beliefs. So, what do you got so far? What are you thinking?
Usually holidays are just, it's family. You finally make that effort to get together with the rest of your family.
You finally make the effort.
That's how, life is busy
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
The holidays give you that reason to, all right, now everyone go to this person's house or over to this person's house.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's what it is to me. I don't get too theological or anything too in depth. It's just, oh, look, kids are out of school. We can go see some family. We can get rid of the kids for a little bit, spend some time with the wife. It's like that's the holidays for me.
Yeah, it's cool. That's absolutely. It's funny because you say families only get together at funerals and weddings, right? Well, I think that's probably needs to be a regular cultural addition to that joke that people really are kind of saying almost.
Yeah.
You know? So, I think that if you think about what the holidays mean to you, it really sets up your mental health. And interestingly, and I planned this and anticipated and had a chance to think about it myself, though, I anticipated positive vibes, positive responses to exploring what this means to you. But if you really get to thinking about how people oftentimes feel during the holidays, let me play around with that question. I didn't plan that one, but how do people generally feel during the holidays? What do you think about that? What comes to your mind?
It's gonna vary person to person. Like for me, I'm great because I'm off work.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm sure some people were stressed out about it.
There's a word.
He did that show not too long ago, the one on addiction. So, and then shame sucks. So,
yeah, I was thinking stress. That's what I hear people talking about all the time, and that's the emotion that comes to my mind. Quicker. It isn't peace. It isn't joy. I mean, that's there, but you get stressed the heck out. Totally.
Well, I have a close family relative whose brother committed suicide on Thanksgiving.
The numbers are up, guys.
So now Thanksgiving is like a really
so for
rough.
the first few years, it was rough, and that's that side of it that.
Yeah.
Well, even like right now, my wife's grandmother is in a hospital in Winston because she had a stroke yesterday.
Oh my gosh, Neil, I'm so sorry.
So we don't know what's happening. I mean, she's coherent. Yeah. I think they took care, but we don't. So what is that going to mean for next year? Because you already lost her grandfather about 2 years ago, and this was like the last piece of that. So if this happens, what is next year's Christmas going to be like with the family? That loss.
Well, it's a certain segment that we were going to touch on. We'll do it now. People do re-experience losses during the holidays. So if you're following this concept and listening to this show, you might be kind of wondering, why am I so stressed out? You might not even kind of fully pull together in your logic part of your brain, what's upsetting. But people very much re-experience losses. My sister, this is like... she's not here with us anymore. She died just now. It's been a couple years ago. Like, holy cow, this is actually the second Christmas without her. Your brain kind of takes a little while to realize, like, well, what are the normal routines now? Used to be Mom would go grab Becky. Becky'd come over to our house and we'd hang out, and that's what we'd do. And it's different. And so when you're divorced, what were all the routines that we had? You re-experience losses, and that creates great distress in part of what you're reflecting on and whatnot, right? So yeah, I'm glad we covered that a little bit, Neil. Thank you for sharing, and I'm say some prayers. I really hope for your grandmother-in-law, I guess, right?
Yeah, that'd be my grandmother. Yeah,
grandmother-in-law.
Not confusing enough.
Well. All right, yeah, not a fun time to be in a hospital. It's weird. We just had sirens roll by, like, outside. That's kind of weird. Ugh, that'll give you the heebie-jeebies. Next question to ponder a little bit. What is hard about the holidays? What do you think? What's hard? First thing that comes to my mind is money. Finances. How do we manage that? Now we're, don't have enough that we need, or, what happens. So to me, finances popped into my brain.
I think time too for some people.
Time management.
I'm gonna be off, but there's other people who's not gonna be off, and you got to go over to grandma's house and the step family's house and the cousin's house. And,
right.
Some people are going like 5 and 6 houses, and then you have people where they're like, we're gonna go over there Christmas Eve. We're going here Christmas Day. We're going here the day after Christmas, and
Oh my God,
so,
you're taking me back right now. Yeah.
And then I can imagine if people are still working that time, which, like I said, most people are. Well, not, a lot of people are still working in holidays. So
where you took me just now is to understand one of the big things that is on my brainstorm, and how do you cope at this time of year, dude? You got to be really careful about managing other people's expectations. Because, time was a major issue. We were newlyweds, and I'll never forget this year where we drove You know, I mean, I'm glad we got to see all of my family, but man, but dude, we lived in Chapel Hill at the time, and we drove all the way down to Florida in Tampa, spent whatever time there, drove all the way back to Chapel Hill, where as we're rolling into town, an ice storm had just taken over, and so there was no power in our apartment. We ended up having to go to a hotel. True story, honest to God, my next door neighbor had power at their house, but we didn't. Whatever the irony of that is. Drove all the way up to Wheeling, which is another basically a 10-hour drive to spend time with my family.
Like the next day or something?
Back. Yeah. All told, it was something like 2,400 miles, and we agreed clear. We're never doing that again.
Yeah, that sounds like you should have like flipped a coin, you know.
Well,
Florida,
we didn't know.
Florida or West Virginia.
Right?
You know.
Well, we didn't know, and we were worried. I mean, we didn't want to disappoint the family. We didn't want to break up the norms. You know, how do you get these new expectations built? Well, we learned our lesson that year. You know, people's expectations aren't going to be met. So tip number one for Danga, I'm sure, is be careful about trying to meet everybody else's expectations of you during the holidays, because it's impossible. You just can't. You just can't. Yeah. So the pain that comes from trying is a whole another thing. What about fun? What's fun about the holidays?
Nothing. I mean,
Scrooge is fun.
I mean, honestly, it goes back to me spending time with your family. Like I said, I said it's hard to make that time, but when you do it, it's actually nice to catch up and see how things are going. You see those younger relatives that are now, you know, my Lord, how did cousin so and so grow a foot this year? Jeez, you know. Yeah. So it's that's
reestablishing
the fun part.
Connections.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, you talked about that expectations. But if you think about it as, you know, reestablishing connections as opposed to, oh no, are they going to, you know, look down on me because I didn't get that promotion, this job, or I don't do as much stuff. There is an expectation of your other family that I think is hard on the holidays too. You talked about that. You know, that can be very stressful if you have siblings. You know, my sister's doing a lot better than I am, and I'm not married yet, or blah, 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 blah.
Lots of comparisons go on, don't they? Holy crap, you're right. Comparing this and comparing that and totally keeping up with the Joneses. That leads to, we'll probably cover all our tips, right? Like, don't try to keep up. It's a bad idea this time of year. Why are we going to spend $7,500 on Xbox 3 or whatever's out now? You know? Like, that's nuts.
Is that the number it is? What is
I'm wondering. I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure.
Because there was Xbox One that just came. I don't know, because I know it's PlayStation 5. That's easy. Because that's easy. They went in chronological.
Oh, they got PS5 out now?
Yeah.
I need one of those.
It looks like a spaceship, or like a space console or something. It's crazy.
You got one?
I need one.
You need one,
yeah. You got to write a letter to Santa.
Yeah. It just, you got the beard.
Yep.
But I think it goes back to, like, when you go in those moments, like you said, it's very enjoyable. And I think you have to be present. When you're in those moments with your family, you need to enjoy your time with them. Don't let those insecurities, don't let all those doubts come in, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on that time.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, when you get older relatives, you always have that risk of, is this the last holiday?
So we are sprinkling in the how do you cope here, right? As we go through the show. I love what you just said, because one of the things that's on the list there is, like, you've got to be mindful and just be in the moment. It's really important to take that time and just let it set in. Just let it be. You don't have to go running around. I mean, people trying to keep up and running around all over the place trying to accomplish, you know, grocery store and food and cooking and buying and wrapping and gifting. And I know we need to do those things. I am a parent, so please don't send hate mail into me about, like, you know, you're so insensitive and that's unrealistic. I am a realist. But you've got to be able to tune it down, too, and be in the moment with what's happening and really just, you know, settle in. Matter of fact, that's one of the things I love about Christmas. It occurs to me when I will invariably, probably not this year. I'm going to be on a beach. I'm going to be on a beach for Christmas. This is going to be awesome. So we're doing some different things. More on that, I guess, in a minute. I love just getting in my car and driving and just being quiet and peaceful in my car, driving around, looking at everything that's closed. Is that weird, Adam? Is that weird?
No, I mean, I can It's like, oh, that's weird. There's those cars in that parking lot.
I have done that more than once, and I love it. I love it. Seriously, when's the last time you've been to like the grocery store and there's just zero? No, I'm not talking about 3 o'clock in the morning either. That's a little different, right? But there's nothing there. There's nothing open. It's calm. It's quiet. Life slows down. I think that's just.
So you're gonna be in the beach when it's calm and quiet.
I am. I'm not gonna be calm and
It's
quiet.
gonna be awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna be deep sea fishing, Neil. That's what we got set up. Looking forward to this. How do you manage gift giving during Christmas? Receiving gifts, giving gifts. Is this a stressful thing? Is this a reality thing? How does this work? And an interesting thing that I was talking to Casey today. So Santa presents, are they wrapped or non-wrapped in your home? What do you think? Gift giving. It's a big part of at least the American tradition and holidays and
I
stuff.
only left him cookies.
Yeah,
Cookies and milk.
Yeah, we always loved cookies because
And didn't wrap those.
Santa needed
Didn't wrap
needed
the
the
cookies.
No.
Yeah, that's what that and
Ours were always wrapped is the point there. I always had
our
wrapped Santa presents.
We
I don't,
for us we don't, which is kind of weird because growing up I did, but we would do kind of like family gifts the night before, and then we'd have Santa gifts like there.
yeah, we did
set
that
up.
tradition too. We did that as well.
So that was one of those. That's one of those cool things. Talk about that, the blending of traditions of families.
It's on the list. We're
So,
on it. We're hitting all the natural things.
Go
Go ahead, hit that.
I think. Well, going back, I think the hard part for parents, when do you tell your kids about Santa? That's a struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know with us, both of our kids, we love the idea of the joy of the idea of Santa. Like it wasn't the whole thing about the lie or blah. It's like they enjoyed it, and so until they either didn't enjoy it or, of course, if a friend spilled the beans, you kind of yeah. And so our common thing was as they got older was, well, do you still want to believe?
Do we need a spoiler alert on here in case?
I haven't said anything otherwise.
I was wondering that actually.
Yeah.
If you have kids in the car, maybe we should do that. As a matter of fact, we'll add in the beginning of the show. We'll actually go back when you're clipping the front end like you were going to. Let's go ahead and do a spoiler alert for kids because I want to go into this. I want to go into this. And I'm glad you brought it up, and I've got a lot of thoughts about it, and I think it's a really good thing that we can kind of create a segment here for, right? Because from a mental health perspective, this can be traumatic. I have actually had in therapy sessions more than once. I wouldn't say, excuse me. I wouldn't say a lot. But definitely more than once, a few times, I'm going to say a few times, people have dealt with this sort of in therapy and part of their family, and not exactly like coming to therapy because they were traumatized when they found out Santa Claus is not real. That's not the point. But one guy I remember very vividly said, well, I had this talk, and it was really quick, and it was quick. I lost the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, and everything else right there. Boom. And I was not... and actually he was from an alcoholic dysfunctional family, and it wasn't very supportive of an environment, and there's a lot of other things that was going on with his sort of emotional psychology. But dude, this crushed him. It was a big
You can always tell them there's still Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster, though.
Oh, we can't say there's Loch Ness Monster. Sure, I guess we'll do a repair there. No, I think, Neil, well, Adam, do you have any thoughts about it? Because I got some thoughts I want to sum us up on it, but how do you deal with this with your kids?
I kind of dealt with it by not dealing with it at all. Just kind of that they just kind of figured it out eventually.
You might actually be in the majority.
I mean, I don't know if I want to suggest that it's a good idea to just go ahead and flat out say, this doesn't exist.
Okay. I don't think it's bad. I mean, kids will figure out, and sometimes they'll find out from their peers and this type of thing. Neil, what do you say or suggest or think?
I think kids are smarter than we probably think they are. So, like I said, our kids try to think like something's not right, something's kind of off, but I think an open dialogue, an open relationship about it. I think that's kind of key. Like I said, with us, it was they'd kind of ask, and my wife would basically say, "Do you want to believe or not?" If it was yes, then they kind of just dropped it.
And they start asking questions. How did Santa Claus make a PlayStation?
That's the key. Right there is honestly my clinical key, because you will get questions. Oh no, Casey's tree just turned off on us. I didn't know there was
It's
a
on
timer
timer.
that turns off now. Yeah,
Man.
that's a bummer on the Facebook and all the YouTubes. The tree just turned off. The kids are going to ask questions, and they're going to begin expressing some confusion. And so I like what your response was, Adam, in the sense that kids aren't going to be traumatized by this. They're going to figure it out. It's almost kind of one of those things that you kind of can't screw it up.
Yeah,
right?
let them be an
It's-
investigator. They'll start asking questions.
gonna be
They'll put two and
okay.
two together.
But I'm saying it's going to be okay because you can actually bother a kid or hurt their psyche a little bit by lying to them. And they've got doubts and curiosities, and they can get annoyed by, like, why aren't you telling me the truth? I don't get it. This is not true. Why? What is going on? Or you can crush them when they're not ready. You know, they're 4 years old, and you're trying to say, well, we want to have the spirit of Christmas be giving and understand you don't have to just receive presents, and we don't buy into this Santa thing. There's a lot of people, that won't even do the Santa things with their kids. There's a large contingency of that. Did you even know that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not all, it's not worldwide or anything. So, I mean, there's going to be, people who don't do that at all.
Well, I'm saying in our neighborhoods.
Well, there's people who don't
Yeah.
go let their kids
Yeah.
go trick or treating.
Absolutely. There's that too. Yeah. So here's what I want to really kind of sum us up on here, and we'll move on. It's really important to answer questions, and you have an opportunity here to be able to, on a big scale for a kid's life, like this is a big deal when they're wondering about the truth and what this means. So your cue here, I want to suggest, is listen to the questions and listen to what they're thinking, okay? And when you deem, because that's a rule with divorce, by the way. That's a rule with, like, finances. Kids will tell you what level emotionally they're on by the questions they ask you. But they've got to know that you can ask questions. So this is an opportunity to teach your kid. You can ask me questions. You can ask me anything you want to ask me. I want to be the best I can at giving.
Are you Santa Claus?
I am. Okay, so when you begin getting direct questions like that, you go into talking about the reality of it. And this is one of the things I think I really did well with my son, particularly my older son. I don't know when my younger son even found out. Interesting. I really am.
Probably the older brother.
It's possible.
There's no such thing as.
It's very, very possible. I do not remember as much, maybe because it just wasn't new.
Why he's twisting his arm or something like that.
Beating him down.
Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Yeah, that was some of the banging Christmas Eve night that year. I didn't know. Now I know. No, I sat him down and I just talked to him about the giving spirit and what Santa Claus means and what Christmas is. We talked about religion and the peace with Jesus' birthday, but I set this all up by saying, okay, listen, I'm going to share some stuff with you. And I want you to understand this is because you're older. Like, you're kind of graduating into a new level of maturity. And I really, really, really want you to treat your brother with respect because he's younger, so he doesn't need to know this stuff yet. But when we went on then and talked about, how mommy and daddy care about you, and we, do this, and we invited him to participate in it. So he set out the cookies for Santa, and he was a big kid, guys. He didn't lose as much as he gained by going through and having the.
He's like in on the secret now.
Absolutely, and it was cool. It was a cool growing maturity moment for him and connecting between he and us. So that doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just a way, and
Do you actually remember when you figured it out or was told? I mean, I can't say that I remember. Do you remember exactly? I don't.
I know. I remember at one point. I remember my mom and stepdad in the middle of the night putting presents out, and that kind of cued me in. But I think that was around third grade or maybe second grade. I'm trying to think of what house we were at. So that was probably my cue. But I don't think I was one that really believed it wholeheartedly. But
I remember one time. Of course, I had already figured it out, but I had got up to go and give a card that I'd made for my parents.
Okay.
And
like at school or the arts and
something like that. And I'm probably at school. I don't remember. But it was Christmas Eve, and I didn't think about it until I'm already in bed. So I wasn't in bed that long. So I got up and walked into the living room. They're in the kitchen, doing whatever, drinking eggnog or I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So I walked in there, and they'd already put the presents out. And I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I got to go back in here. I can't let them know that I know now.
Yeah.
And then I started to sneak back, and I went, you know what? No. Let's have fun with this.
So you went back.
So I walked on into the kitchen. Hey, Mom, Dad, here, I got this card here. And then they're like, oh, hey, hey. And then I remember my mom, she like covered my eyes up and walked back to the, and that's, what way she dealt with it or whatever. And I was thinking, I don't know what they were thinking about it.
Yeah. It's thank you for sharing that story. I think that happens all around the world in so many ways. I mean, it's a very common thing for, and I love that you asked the question, what do you do with this? I think that you want to have some dialogue about it, because otherwise you just create this mystery, and people need to know that they can come to their parents, have questions, and say things. And I'm glad you went back in the room and did that.
One thing I want to point out, that in my mind, to me, that tells me my mom wasn't ready for her to like accept that I didn't believe Santa Claus existed.
Exactly.
Which I'm fine with that. I mean, it's
right. This is, and
I didn't want to ruin it for her either. So.
That's how I was going to end this segment, this little piece that we're doing here. The fact of the matter is, a lot of the times, it's about the parents not wanting to give up the youngness and funness of their little child.
Right.
It's not about the kid. And of course, you got to put that in check, because you don't want that to be what's driving your decisions and your dialogue and your actions and stuff. You do want to make it about the kid, and deal with your loss. But again, you're going through a loss with this. Like, parents have struggled with this. I don't want to tell them. Parents have thought about this.
They shouldn't be stressed, though, because you got to think, too, this also means that the following year they can go to gift cards.
Absolutely.
Well, gift cards now. We didn't have that one,
Right, it's true.
You can give money.
In the 80s, there weren't as many gift cards.
Cash or check.
20 of them at different places. I had a thought. I think I lost it. So I'll just move on. But it's really a lot of sadness, when you're kind of dealing with parents and grief and loss, and this is part of the, what do you deal with in the holidays? I mean, there's high stakes in these games that we play. So let me just kick through, another a few honorable mentions about. I was thinking about the holidays, right? So honorable mention number one is the holidays and loneliness. Okay, this is a huge time that people are struggling with feeling lonely. I would imagine you're tuning into the show maybe on Christmas Eve, kind of saying, well, how do I get through this and stuff? Because loneliness is a huge, huge factor. And the fact of the matter is, you're not alone feeling lonely. To me, there's so many people on Facebook and so many social media apps that we've gotten out, and we've talked about how that actually creates loneliness and creates anxiety, and we talked about that in some prior shows on social media. It seemed an interesting carryover there when I was thinking about it. And also, there's so many scenarios that you find yourself in this time of the year. I suspect around the world we have a lot of military bases that are listening to us. Military, I have 3 personal kids I'm so proud of to know that have become young men and joined the Marines. 3 literally this year, right? They are away from their families for their first time at the holidays. It's a lot of emotion out there on military bases and post-divorce. And, maybe you just moved to the East Coast. I have a brother-in-law that moved all the way out to Colorado. Now he's moved back, actually. But there's reasons for this, and you're going to find yourself in circumstances. And we have to deal with the loneliness factor. Another one is just holiday and stress. I don't have time to go through that a whole lot, but we've talked a little bit about it. There's a lot of things that get stressful. Sorry, I got the airplane mode.
It was him this time, not me.
Yeah, we have technology interruptions all the time. Gosh, how do I carry about stress? I mean, what would you guys say? About your experiences with holidays and the stress. I mean, there are so many things. The finances, the gift giving, the expectations. I literally had a person in my office the last few days that was literally kind of trying to process through. My mother-in-law didn't want me to get gifts. My dad tells me don't buy her gifts because this and that, and he's like, well, I already bought the gift. What do I tell him? How do I manage this? It's stressful situations like that, right? Like, What do you think about holidays and stress, generally speaking?
Well, for us that don't get all the holidays off like Adam, it's
Yeah,
He's
looking
so
like-
awesome.
He's just
so
looking.
awesome.
Did you see his face in the carry? He's like, I don't
What's
have any
stress?
stress. man. It's
I've
not
also-
stress.
I think a lot of it is self-induced. I think when you think about what people get stressed, like your situation about the gifts.
Yeah.
To me, I'd be like, okay, you don't want me to buy it, but I already bought you something. Just be straight and
Right,
honest. But I
right.
think there's a lot of people that the anxiety they build up this anxiety. You talk about the expectations of the siblings or the cousins or all this stuff, or they really work themselves up so much because of for whatever reason. Keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the brothers.
Yeah.
And I think really just taking that deep breath and just being like, okay, why am I really getting stressed?
Again, it comes up. Be careful about managing everyone else's expectations of you. If you manage your expectations of yourself first, not exclusively, by the way, but that's something that needs to be ingrained.
Well, I think a discussion would actually help that too. An example I can think of is like at one time every Christmas, me and my sister and her family and my family would get together for Christmas, and the thing is you're trying to get presents for everybody, and then finally one year my sister's like, you know what, we're not doing presents anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we with Alicia's family, we switched to a Dirty Santa, and this year it's like
dirty Santa.
or Secret Santa, Dirty
You don't know
Santa.
what that is?
I've never heard the term dirty Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not what I talk about anyway.
No, that's where everyone brings one gift, and then you count them up, and then everyone draws numbers, and then basically number one picks their gift. The next person, number two, can either pick a different gift or take that person's gift.
I love that game.
And it's
I
a
think
fun
it's
game.
great fun.
So how do you go about getting the gifts in the first place? Everybody just brings something?
yeah, everyone has a
everyone
price
brings
limit
one
and you
gift.
just buy something. and
Right.
bring
So if
one
there's
in.
like 15 people there, everyone brings like one gift, like $5, $10 limit. And this
Okay.
year, for various reasons, we kind of don't want to do it. It's like whether it's expenses or the fact that every time someone buys, like, well, do we really need this? It's fun, but do you really need it? And so, like you said, we talked about it. We texted about it. What's going on with this? And so we just came to a conclusion. Okay, well, if everyone
is
wants
the
to
plan.
buy, if everyone
The
wants to
new
buy
plan.
presents for the kids, they can. But we're not going to do the Dirty Santa this year. And it's just like, okay,
Dirty Santa.
yeah.
So here's a piece, and it is on my list of how do you cope with the holidays. Look, there are no hard and fast rules that you absolutely have to subscribe to when it comes to the holidays and stuff. I mean, but you're right. And that's what you mean by self-induced, I think, right? Like, you feel this pressure for what reason? And I'm telling you, people feel hard pressure with that. I didn't ask the question in earlier, but we just because we didn't have time, and I decided to move on before I said, what about holidays and traditions? What does that do in your mind and your hearts? Well, this is it. Nope, we've always done it that way. We can't change now. Like, that's not okay.
Sure you can.
Right? That's the suggestion. That there's nothing that locks this stuff in, but yet, again, we feel that has to be.
Yeah, and I think you have to be okay with change, but you also have to be steadfast in something you believe in. Because I'm not a big tradition person, but for some reason, I've got this thing that I make Belgian waffles on Christmas Day. That's something my dad did, and that was part of our tradition. That's something that I just feel as the dad, I feel like I always want to do that. I don't know why. So I get myself stressed out because I'm like, oh, I got to make the Belgian waffle, let it rise. And then it takes time to do it. Got to get the pecans or the chocolate chips. And
Absolutely.
So what time are me and Chris supposed to be there?
you can be there. I think they'll be ready by 10 or 11. Well, Chris is at the beach, but you're more than welcome
Okay.
to come.
I'm at the beach, but when we come back, I'll be having a little piece of that, but we're gonna have an upside down pineapple cake.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
right?
Alicia's aunt makes those. Those things are delicious.
My father-in-law, Gerald Thayer, thank you so much, brother. You have taught me an amazing thing. Like, that's a tradition for me. Like, I don't do it every year, but dude, and it's funny. I always say like upside down cherry turnover pie cake because I always rename it. It's another funny thing that I do. But go ahead. Yeah.
I got to do a plug here.
Plug.
This weekend I get sour cream cinnamon pound cake.
I know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
When are you bringing that over?
I-
I'll trade you that
I can
for
probably
a
bring
Belgian
some
waffle.
back. I can probably bring some back.
But I think the key when it comes to traditions, if they're enjoyable, you should keep doing them.
Right.
If it becomes a negative and overly stressful, and the tradition is there for the sake of a tradition, and the tradition is not there to enjoy it and to actually enjoy the reason why you're having the tradition, you need to really think about, is it time to change it or adapt
I like that.
it?
There's
I like
an
that.
absolute balance here, and you're absolutely on point with mental health, Neil, whether you realize it or not. But I think what I'm trying to say is, look, change is scary, and people are resistant to that. We've done a show on change and how do you cope with change, right? Well, traditions are very grounding as well. So if I was sounding for a moment like no rules, do whatever you want, this and that. No, like traditions give you footing. They're family traditions for a reason. It grounds societies, all told. Like the national tradition of the Christmas tree. National traditions, as much as familial traditions, play a role in holding people together. And togetherness is security. Your emotional well-being depends upon, a certain amount of traditions. So there's a balance, and I think I like the way. How did you put it? If a tradition is what, then what?
If it becomes too stressful, then you should look at adapting it.
Yeah, I think that's dude. Write that down for the little quote that you like to put out there, man. Rocking it, Neil. Rocking it.
There might be a show like for that somehow.
Actually, that would be a whole good
Sounds
show.
good.
I think I agree.
Just do it on traditions.
Holidays and stress. I want to touch back again with losses. Another honorable mention spot here. Losses are re-experienced during the holidays, guys. That's a reality. This can be as big as losing your childhood. I've had people in therapy that are struggling. Well, you know what? I'll make that personal to me. I didn't lose my childhood, but I remember very clearly as I got married to my wife and my in-laws. Like we didn't have a lot. I think I've shared. We grew up, kind of rough and single mom, and but don't get me wrong. Don't feel bad for me. I mean, we had great presents. And oh my God, public thank you. I forgot to do the public.
I was
thank
wondering
you.
if he was thinking the same thing.
Forgot the public thank you. This boy came and got me a gift this year, man.
Well, hold on. Let me give him a little. You remember his story about?
Did you get him the Falcon?
I did. Got him a
He
Millennium
did,
Falcon
man.
Christmas ornament. Yep.
It's got a proud spot in the
Did
front
I
of my
mention it to
Christmas
you
tree.
already?
No, but
Okay.
I pay attention to the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he heard the whole show, transcribed the whole show, did all the things.
The whole time I'm thinking he's a Millennium Falcon. He's got to have one.
I forgot to put that on the front end, man. My apologies. Thank you.
You're
that
welcome.
was a very thoughtful,
Welcome.
very nice, and I need to give you a picture of the front of the tree. It's a proud spot right in the front, and it'll be there every year.
Cool.
I love that. That was awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I appreciated it greatly. The Millennium Falcon.
You
hanging
should
on
have
my
it like
tree.
hovering over the manger.
Well, I might do something cool with that. Absolutely, it's too cool to be on a Christmas tree.
Now, which show was that when we talked? Was that Addiction we talked about?
I'm not.
No, that's
sure.
Money.
Not sure.
That was Money.
Yeah, it
That
was.
was- yeah,
It
that
was
was
Yeah,
exactly
stressing
yeah.
about money and everything.
because
so-
I'm going in the same direction. I didn't lose my childhood. I was saying, but we did have some tough times and whatever. And I had many great Christmases, and I'm grateful for all of them. But as well, we turned to those struggle points, particularly in my teenage years. And dude, when I met my in-laws and all that they have done for me, I mean, they are very gracious. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Gerald and Vicky. I appreciate it, and I'm talking about it with this now because I had to learn how to say thank you with these people, and it was very that was hard to figure out how to do. I know that sounds weird, but gift giving and all these traditions. Did you see how many emotions are flying around with all these different things that we talk about? I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? So, okay. Deaths that occurred. I mentioned that with my sister. Big emotional facts, for divorce and, family transitions and, the losses that we have when our, this is touching me personally right now, moving into empty nesting and the kids, holy crap, for 20 years, one of the traditions, if you will, Neil, that I was kind of look, Christmas tree, our house, kids are coming down the stairs, we are staying home. I know that I frustrated some people probably, but
Man, I've said that so many times before in the past. It just almost never happened.
Yeah, well, that was one of the few things I really like, dude, like, but that's going away. I don't know how many more years we've got of that. Well, actually, we've, by our own cost, we've kind of changed some of those but they're older now. I mean, we were at Snowshoe on Christmas Day once recently. But the celebration of new traditions begins to take hold because now we're having like these vacations a little bit, and now we're going to be deep sea fishing and on the beach. So it's the loss though. It's the re-experiencing your dad's no longer here. The transitions of I used to have a family, now I'm single. This is normal, y'all, to re-experience this at this time of year because there are so many family connections and personal relationships that formed around these big times of year. So again, if you're listening to this, you're not alone in dealing with all of these types of things.
And I think you hit on the head that goes back to the key why relationships are so important to human nature. And the loss of a relationship, whether it's as simple as even if someone loses a pet, they'd have that person have that dog, they'd put the reindeer horns on, and now you don't have Skippy anymore.
Magnum's not here. Yeah.
That can be heartbreaking. But like you said, like these are times to reconnect, to rebuild those relationships, and if you don't have those connections anymore, you lost it. It's so important, I think, to have defined connections some way or somehow. I don't know what it is.
New connections.
New connections.
You celebrate the old, you create the new, you're where you're at, mindful, and you plan, as you would like things to be based on your expectations. Boy, that pulls a few of these, themes together, I think, real nicely. Let me just wrap with you guys on a question I'm curious, covering New Year's, and then I'm just going to hit the list of what I brainstormed. Oh, I think we got several of them. Is New Year's Eve or New Year's holiday celebration all around the world, is it a time for reflection or anticipation?
Yes.
I'm not going to let you get away with that.
Yeah. What do you think?
For me, I'll answer this first, so I had the advantage of thinking about it. Hands down, all told, no doubt about it, New Year's Eve, I'm a reflector. I am a total reflector.
We're not surprised.
Why is that? Why am I getting that reaction? Explain yourself.
Well, he started chuckling before I said
I know,
anything.
right? Why are you not surprised?
You're a reflector.
Because you know me.
Yeah.
I guess you've gotten to know me.
Because I'm like anticipation, like what move forward, keep going forward with what you can do next. So, which goes back really to show that you and I are so different. Like, listen to the show.
Did you hear him? How he said that?
We are so, because I'm thinking, it's about anticipation. It's those resolutions. It's what can you do better this next year? What can you do this next year? And then no sooner do I think that, he's like, it's about reflection.
For
and
me.
I'm like, yeah.
For me.
That's what an abandonment person says.
Abandonment feel, Actually, it's funny. I didn't even think about that in that setting, engulfment, abandonment, how that kind of works out. But, it stands to me to make a point there, is that are the differences in us okay? Of course, for you and me, Chris and Neil, yes. How about husband and wife and, different family, one family to the next? Your in-laws, I really had to kind of deal with this too in a way in my head. My in-laws listen to this. They would not know this, but they'll know it now, I guess, because it's shot around the world. One of the things I really, really loved about Christmas, and it was very, very different from the way that they did things, was we did like we do family presents beforehand. And to me, that was really special because I really, really liked the giving of the present. I couldn't wait for my dad to open up the present or my brother to see what I picked out at the store. I was able to pick it out. Yeah, to me, that was really, really cool. And so we did that really quiet and really slow. That's another thing. We one person's opening up a gift at a time, so I could see what we could all see, and that was really special to me. I really, really enjoyed that around how we did things. Dude, I went to my in-laws and it was like I'm sure many people just boom, here's the presents. Everyone's opening them up at the same time and things are going on and it's wrappers all around and it was all family gifts mixed up with Santa gifts and all of that. It was like, whoa, this is different. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. But everybody needs to be okay with the differences. What do you?
Well, you explained my childhood. Well, because my parents divorced when I was like 4 or 5, and my parents got remarried shortly after that. And literally, my mom's house with my stepdad was like your in-laws.
Yeah.
It was basically presents are there, and everyone just
Bang.
dives
Tore
in.
into it.
Find your present, free for all. With my dad and my stepmom, with the Belgian Wolf stuff, it was basically, okay, here's our stockings. And Christmas morning, here's our stockings. All right, everyone go through all the stocking gifts. And my stepmom would basically, each
one?
each stocking gift was wrapped.
Would
And
take
you would
forever.
go through, yeah, exactly. So we had round 1 stockings, and then we'd do waffles. Round 2 was the presents, and it was one at a time. And maybe that's why I'm more adaptable now, because I've been doing this since I was like 6 or 7 or something.
That's right.
But yeah, literally I grew up with 2 completely different households. My grandma or my stepmom was buying Christmas on December 26th for next year. Of course, my dad was buying it on December 24th for this year.
Nice.
Which was funny when those relationships. But yeah, so I've seen both sides of the traditions or both sides of the
just different ways to do things.
And each one was enjoyable, and because I actually kind of I started enjoying, I liked watching people open their gifts versus being into your own moment and doing it. Of course, we'd have to cut the tape, save the wrapping paper.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And so that kind of scarred us too. So every time I open gifts, I'm trying
Very careful.
We can reuse that paper.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of things like that you get these annoyances, you get these things that bother you, that get under your skin. So let me kind of just look at what I had for my list. It's not a complete list, but it's a little bit of an idea to kind of help you think about, how do you cope with all these annoyances and all this stress and the loneliness and the changes and the losses that you re-experience and whatnot, right? So let me just hit these down. Give yourself permission to make new traditions and meet only those that feel comfortable with, which is exactly kind of what you said, Neil, right? Permission to make new traditions and meet only those that you feel comfortable with. Don't try the impossible, meet everyone's expectations. I actually had a TV interview years ago I was lucky enough to do that, the holiday blues. How do you manage the holiday blues? And that's what I was kind of pinging that issue in mental health dang near 15, 20 years ago when I was on that. I mean, that is probably the biggest thing that comes to my mind, by the way, is that expectations thing that we brought up a few times. Just be aware of simple things. One of the things I learned, we would get, during Thanksgiving and holiday meals, everyone starts getting really, really crabby and irritable. You've been around family and, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, Adam, why do you think everybody's irritated?
At 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Probably because we've been up so early, all day and got up early, and the kids are like,
absolutely, you've been running around.
Come on, open up presents.
It's way past lunch and it's before dinner. So what do you think you haven't done? Everyone's angry.
Okay.
Well, not in his house because it's waffles. So
Right.
We eat waffles at 10. But what is up with holiday dinners being at 2 or 3 o'clock? Because my wife never understood that. Because my aunt, when we do Thanksgiving, it's 2 or 3. It's it's like two
preparation time.
Yeah, but still.
No, it's the fact that it's a huge meal and you can't eat 4 meals, and so you're not going to eat dinner. You're not going to eat, lunch and dinner. I mean, it's just because for me, I think it's assumed. I'm surprised that you didn't know. Yeah, it's the secret is we can't eat that much, and so we try, and then we don't need to eat again.
I used to go through because divorced parents. I'd have my mom's dinner. My dad's dinner, and then I go to my friend's house. Of course, this was all bad because it was in high school. We wrestled. There was always a wrestling tournament. So it's crap. But yeah,
can I go up a weight division?
Yeah, exactly.
So this sounds simple, but think about those things that are commonly difficult. Well, one of the things that we've figured out that we really routinely do is there's always going to be appetizers out. We're cutting up some melons. We're cutting up some cheese and crackers. We got some shrimp sitting out. And so if anybody gets in a little bit of hangry, we're not making you wait until 3:30 or 2:30 to eat. Just go get some snacks.
Do you put healthy stuff out or just anything?
Yeah, cheese, crackers, fruit. Yeah, I like to. You wouldn't know it, but I like to try to eat healthy, Adam. Turn the video off. Don't stop. Take some time to yourself. Look. I'm going to use this as a quick example as well because not that I always get things right. I've screwed many things up, but I developed a plan that absolutely every holiday season I was going to take a nap. every holiday day, I decided, I didn't follow through, but I did for like 3-4 years, that I was just going to, even if it was 15 minutes, I was going to lay down and take a nap and just stop, right? So make sure that you're taking some time to yourself, that you do things that you need for you. Again, that expectation thing.
I will do that.
You're going to do that?
I'm going to do that.
Absolutely, man.
I've done it. It's awesome.
I'm not
is,
allowed to.
You're not allowed to take a nap?
When I take naps, I just sleep through the night. So
You're done.
My wife's like, you can't take naps.
So when you take a nap, you sleep through the night?
I don't.
Like you don't
take
wake
naps.
back up.
Yeah, I'm like gone. Like I never sleep otherwise. So
Really?
if I'm that tired, it's like 2, 3, 4 hours, and it's like my.
Oh no,
wife's
you
like,
can't.
Oh,
That's
wow.
not. You can't
No.
take naps like you
No,
go.
No, this is 20 minutes.
That's
Yeah,
why I
20
said
minutes.
I don't take naps.
Develop a stronger sense of gratitude so that you're not caught up in keeping up with the next best thing. Gratitude lists are great this time of year. Feeling lonely, which is huge. Feeling lonely is managed by reaching out to others. Reach out. Go to your neighbor's house. You're not going to ruin their day or embarrass yourself. Reach out. Don't be lonely this time of year, knowing that there's people all around you. Boundaries, right? Say no when you mean no. Say yes when you mean yes. We've done a whole show on boundaries, but otherwise resentments are developed. You will get exhausted by not following boundaries or having boundaries. So you'll run yourself into the ground again, trying to meet other people's expectations. Cornerstone of mental health. I'm not going to try you because you may not have heard that before, but do you know the cornerstone of mental health?
No.
Neil, come on.
Self-care.
Boom! Right? That is the cornerstone of mental health, and it's something that you need to be able to do. Take a nap maybe, but do something fun for you. If you've bought Legos for your kids and you really enjoy Legos, go get the kids' Lego thing and just spend 15 minutes and put it together because you enjoy it. Take it apart and let them fix it yourself. But, right? Whatever it is, have 2 deviled eggs and make special deviled eggs because you enjoy cooking.
Make waffles.
Watch football, right? Something. Take pieces of this day and this time and balance it out with self-care. It's okay to let other people know that you're not happy. We have this myth. I don't know where it got created, but I have to be joyful. I have to be happy. I have to be up. I can't be sad. I can't be depressed. I can't be down. But let me tell you something. As a reminder, we didn't get to do the segment that I wanted to. When you already have a mental health condition, whether it's manic, bipolar, depressed, OCD, anxious, all types of mental health conditions, and you go into a stressful season, you will have that likely be aggravated. You don't have to spend extra energy to try to pretend that's not the case. So let me give you permission out there. If you're feeling these mental health impacts and you're struggling because you're grieving, I've got a couple people in my therapy right now that have that going on. Terrible grief and loss. They just lost their family members. It's okay to let people know that that's the case, man. Lastly, this actually came from our article. I didn't even mention it during today, but there was a cool article we have in show notes. It seemed involved and had a couple cool links, and I enjoyed it. But it was an interesting tip they made. I never even thought of this before, but how about plan something for after the holidays that you'll enjoy? I thought that was brilliant. Thanksgiving's wearing you out and stressing you out. What is it? Always on a Thursday, right? Plan something nice on a Saturday, that you're going to go, boating on that Saturday, or after this holiday season, you're going to go do something special and different and fun. Like we're going to it's an awesome time for a trip. The holidays are over. January's there. January 15th. Take a vacation. Why can't we take a vacation in January?
Or a staycation.
Or a staycation. Stay at home and just plan on Netflixing a binge.
Or
right?
just not plan on doing anything.
Absolutely. I love the thought.
I mean, you can still Netflix, but just, don't plan on it.
Right. But it's a plan. So the idea here is you've got a plan after the holidays can get you through the holiday malaise and stress. So, I don't know. How should we wrap up here, guys? We need to get out of here. What are you doing for Christmas this year? We're running down to the beach. I said we are. Thoughts, holiday plans, what you're looking for. How might you sum us up? I appreciate you guys and ending 2021 with us and tagging us out of here for the year. How do you tag us out of the show? What do you think? What are you doing?
What am I
are you looking
doing?
forward to? Yeah.
Well, in my case, I'll be at home for Christmas.
Not working, we established.
Yeah, not working. Not working my regular job is, doing something. My girlfriend will be, of course, at home. It's a long distance thing, so going to see her later on that day. So, but I won't be there Christmas Eve or anything. But, she has her family and everything. So then the next week, whatever.
You're really going to be enjoying some time off, aren't you?
Yeah,
I have a feeling you're just going to be chilling.
Taking out that. But, when I'm off, though, I like doing stuff. Just whatever.
Your deck will get finished.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
My deck's finished now.
Is it nailed down on the rail?
No.
Ah!
Yeah, but that's not like I can't make my mind up what I want to do yet.
Oh, you haven't made your mind up?
Kitchen's next. The deck's on hold. The kitchen's next.
That's funny.
What you?
I know that rail's not nailed down.
No, it's not.
I have no clue. I don't know what.
Both of you are that way.
That's good. That's a good plan.
That is a good plan.
With Alicia's grandmother and everything,
awesome
I know
plan.
we're gonna try to get with them, and we'll get with her family, and I'll do something with my mom. But we're very spontaneous. It was like if it's longer than a week out, we forget about it. So
Yeah, I like the.
I'll do the round.
No plan.
It is a cool plan. I'm looking forward to this. Is totally something new and different, man. I've never done this. We've never been deep sea fishing, so we're going to go deep sea fishing. And literally, I'm kind of excited about the Christmas meal. I think this year we'll probably do some different things. We were going to be in a condo, but I'm going to cook the fish that we caught the day before for Christmas meal, man. And I'm excited about
It's very
that.
optimistic that he's going to.
Yeah, I'll say, what if he doesn't catch anything?
Oh, it's
we'll be doing an episode on like
Starkist. He's going to get some chicken of the sea.
All right, listen, we're wrapping up 2021, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out with us. The holidays can be beautiful, they can be wonderful, they can be joyful, they can be cheerful, but they can be sad, and they can be depressing, and they certainly can be stressful. So hang out with us, learn from us, talk to us. We want to figure this thing out together, but for the wrap-up of 2021, I formally wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday season all around the world. And we will look forward to 2022 with anticipation and reflection of the new year. Take care, and we'll see you soon.